The guy has got him figured at 5 to 9. So make it F10. He wins it by
And welcome to another edition of Handicappers Corner from the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Hitz along with Drew Forster. We're going to go through the Saturday races at Hastings Racecourse, Saturday, April the 27th. Got 8 on tap, a stake race. We do have the Brighouse Bells for fillies and mares, their first test of the year, and it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it looks like a very competitive field with Overvalued, Heidi Marie, and of course Evelyn's Dancer making the transition from 3 to 4. As a 3-year-old, of course, she ran second in the ballerina, so it doesn't look like that's going to be much of a problem for her, and she looks good this year. So
we should note we have lots going on here at the Derby Bar and Grill, so come on down. We got the Kentucky Derby, of course, coming up. There's very limited seating left, but you still can, and you must phone 536-2878 to reserve a seat for Saturday, May the 4th. Of course, always a signature day in the season, and I know it's always packed here at the Derby Bar and Grill. It's a great festive atmosphere. And also on Oaks Day, they have some lunch specials as well on Fridays, May the 3rd. So
always get a good crowd out for both days. Of course, Derby Day, but Oaks Day is a lot of fun too.
All right, let's get into the card. We got some sprinters, some quick guys. The 3.5 furlongs, actually fillies and mares, going that short distance, nursery course distance of 3.5 furlongs. $5,000 claimers. I got a field of 7 scheduled to go postward. I'm going to go with a 5, Nicotiana. She showed good speed against the boys last time and gets in against her own sex this afternoon, so I think that'll be good for her. Nicely favorably drawn, I think, in gate 5, so I'm going to try Nicotiana. Those two colts that finished in front of her were just a little too fast. But in against the girls, I think it'll be a big difference. The 2-horse Snowbird Pass is very quick. I don't know how she's going to do at 3.5 furlongs, but she's showing some 21 and 4 type speed, going 6.5 furlongs. But it's not always the same. Like, you got to really gun out of there. She's a big mare, and she generally kind of gallops up and does the 21 and 3. Not really super jackrabbit quick out of there, and you need to be quick out of there, especially if you drew the 2-hole like she has. So I'm going to put her in the second spot, and I put the little 3-year-old Cassidy Storm in for third. I went 5, 2, and 7 to start off.
I have the same horse on top, Nicotiana, as you mentioned, in against the boys last time, and Mel Snow is red hot right now. His horses are firing. In the second spot, I put Seashell out of the Frank Barry barn. Another guy who's off to a really good start this season is Frank Barry. Scott Williams takes the call. Has the race under his belt against that Oh to Be Lucky, Vinny Vici, the same race that Nicotiana comes out of. So when against the girls, maybe a little more favorable for her. And same horse in third spot, Cassidy Storm, the 3-year-old filly. Kind of the wild card in here. Just 2 races under belt, but won at this distance last year. I have 5, 1, and 7. On to the second race, fillies and mares, claiming 4,000. I have gone to the 4, Remarkably Free. This is a mare that just always seems to fire fresh. Likes the winner's circle. 8 wins out of 23 starts. Coming out of the Rob Gilker barn. Amadeo Perez knows her well. Won a few on her last year. The second spot I put Eye to Eye. Again, out of the Frank Barry barn. Made a nice run last time. Came flying up late. My Bailout was just a little too good that day. My Bailout, the heavy chalk that day. But ran a good second to My Bailout, so I think Eye to Eye. She had the winner off. Last year when she came in, she'd been running a Phoenix. She'd been running for some time. I think she's freshened. Second start off the bench, I think she can make some noise in here with Aaron Greiderbard. And in the third spot, Golden Ratio out of the Tony Cluche barn. Comes out of that same race as Rainbows in the Wood, Eye to Eye, My Bailout. Didn't have the best trip. Things work out a little better for her. That's another one. I see it like those 3, I think, are definitely the contenders in here. I have 4, 3, and 2.
Yeah, I like the 4, Remarkably Free. I think she's your key in the early, any pick wagers that you do early in the card. I really like the 4-horse Remarkably Free. As you mentioned, she's run well fresh in the past. She doesn't seem to run bad races. You look at her form; she's always on the board.
Yeah.
She's going to give you a good, honest effort, and that's all you ask when you're making your wagers. As long as you're going to get a good effort every time, and Remarkably Free gives you that. I like her a lot, and the connections know her well, and they've done very well with her. I put the 5-horse Hidden Harbor in for second. She had a brutal trip last time. She was hung out 3 wide, chasing My Bailout in that race. I thought she did well to hang on to be 5th. I mean, she didn't get any breaks in that race, and I don't see it Eye to Eye and Rainbows in the Wood finished ahead of her, but they both benefited from a 3-ply speed duel, and she was the one out there fighting, and I thought might deserve a little more respect in this race. Might not get as much pace pressure, so I put her in the second spot, and I put the 1 Rainbows in the Wood. She kind of had the wide trip. Eye to Eye had the nice trip under Aaron Greider, scooted up the inside. I mean, if that happens again, well then Eye to Eye will beat Rainbows in the Wood. But from the inside, I think Rainbows in the Wood might be able to get a little bit better trip. So she was a little deep on the final turn. So I went 4, 5, and 1. But I like Remarkably Free and Hidden Harbor. Those are my 2 horses in the race that I did end up on the 4. On to the third race, $10,000 fillies and mares. It's girl day so far on Saturday.
Yeah, ladies' day.
Ladies' day at the races. 6.5 furlongs, 10 grand claimers. I landed on the 2 Delta Bouquet. I did like her on opening day against Eliodora, but she scratched that day. But she's come back to work in 123 flat, going 6.5 furlongs, and I think that's a good sign. Anytime you see a horse scratch, and you see it come back to work as well as it did. And Delta Bouquet for me, not a lot of pace in here, so perhaps she might even be able to get to the top. The 1 horse, Diana's Legacy, she's honest. She always runs good races. John Snow has done very well with her, so I like her a lot. I wouldn't be surprised to see her win very easily, but if anyone beats her, it might be the 2, Delta Bouquet. And I put the 4 Camino in for third, racing Fitness Edge, been running in Phoenix. Aaron Greider takes the call. But a good group of mares. This is a tough race.
This is.
There's Hope, Faith, Gold, this 1 races. Dream in the Dark's coming up with good form from down south. Maidavale as well. Scopa. This is one of those races.
A lot of ways you could go
Whatever.
here.
The way, if there's a big pace duel, everything changes, and Delta Bouquet is not going to be the horse to beat, but it's just a matter of how it sets up. But I'm going to say it's 2, 1, and 4.
I have Diana's Legacy on top. Just she's won 8 out of 24 starts. John Snow knows her well. Yeah. Scott Williams off to a good start here at the meet. She ran second last time to Eliodora, who was much the best that day. Without Eliodora in here, I think she's kind of the class of the field, so I put her on top. A horse you mentioned, Camino, coming in with a Fitness Edge out of Phoenix. She ran some good races down there. Got put on right near the lead last time. She ended up inheriting the lead and went in 44 flat, and then kind of faltered after that. But if she can sit back and have a little pace to run at, I can see her making some noise late. I have her in second. And another one come up from Phoenix, the honest old Dream in the Dark, a good friend of the Derby, Lauren McDougall's there.
Quite a lot, little Lauren.
Oh, Lauren, he's a regular sight around here. She's another one that has the Fitness Edge. I think she's coming into this race looking for a good effort. She had a little break, then ran the once in March and comes in, second start in the cycle.
There could be a pace in here. And she's a mare that if you gets the right trip, Richard won on her.
He knows her.
And anytime you get a top quality rider like Richard Hamill, your horse is live, and Dream in the Dark could. She'll need some breaks to beat $10,000 horses because she's primarily be running for 5 and 7,500. But she's a mare that could even win in this race with the right trip.
Yeah, I expect her to make some noise. I got 1, 4, and 6. On to the 4th race, 3-year-olds and up, maiden 4,000, and I've gone near the outside to I Want Seconds, the 7 horse, William Levanaway's. Ran opening weekend, ran on the Sunday, just got beat by Pirate Chest. There's not a whole lot in here. There's some horses with maybe suspect kind of form. I Want Seconds, has a 49 buyer. It kind of stands out in here. Trying to make a case for a few, but I just see it going to I Want Seconds. Of course, William Levanaway and Amadeo Perez have had a lot of success last year. They look to kind of pick up and carry that on this year. So I have I Want Seconds on top. The second spot, I put Sacred Cause out of the Craig McPherson barn. Making its first start of the year, but did just get beat a neck last year when it finally got down to the maiden $5,000 level. Starts right out at the bottom level this year. So with the connections, Craig McPherson, he's always dangerous. I put Sacred Cause in second. And in the third spot, I put Michael's Glory, a horse that ran for 7,500 in that Fox Be Gone, that second race opening day. Now drops down to 4,000, has the 47 buyer. Enrique Gonzalez takes the call. I went 7, 2, and 4.
Yeah, I like the 7 horse, I Want Seconds. Amadeo Perez will now ride for William Levanaway, but the speed makes this horse very dangerous. Went 23 flat, 46 and 2, and was fighting off an impressive first-time winner in Pirate Chest. And I thought that was a very good effort. I know the horse did have some recency, and there was some running in Phoenix, but still, I don't see any other speed in here. I think this horse has got to get to the top. And I think the one danger will be the 6 horse Ottoman, this 5-year-old running against many 3-year-olds here. Richard Hamill surfaces on this one. He did ride this I Want Seconds last time, so perhaps you can put a lot into that. Maybe he does prefer Ottoman, who final prep was in 1:14 and 2/5. It's almost as fast as these horses ran last time. So Ottoman ran against Ice Rules and Chapel Boy, 2 next up winners. But it's been off almost a year, and a little leery of that. But still, Ottoman been working well. Doesn't find a tough spot at all. Might be some value there with the 6 Ottoman. But the 2 Sacred Cause in for third. Form's solid, and a horse that'll break her his maiden soon. But just no speed in the race is what concerns me.
Yeah.
And he might just have to be able to get third or something. But I went 7, 6, and 2. But definitely honorable mention to the 6 at bottom. All right, on to the 5th race. Got some non-2, non-3s here. Allowance event, 6 furlongs. I'm going to shorten it up to 6 furlongs here. I'm not too sure what happened there, but all the races today are 6.5, except this one. But the 3-horse Stratify had some big races for the Swift Thoroughbreds and Condolinos last year. Had a couple of good runs. Even though the horse didn't win against Simon Templar, the horse was like wide the whole race after the party beginning.
Brutal trip that day. Yeah.
What could go wrong did go wrong that day, but then came back and won very, crushed them. But went to the sidelines after that, which is a bit of a concern. But the works are good. The barn's going good this spring.
Yeah.
Let's go with Stratify. I put the 4 Brass and Gold. Good spring so far. I've been running down in Phoenix. I've been running nicely on the turf. I'm going to switch back to the dirt, but the works are good. And I put the 1 Twist Grips, another one that was down in Arizona, getting the nice desert air in for third. This horse could be the speed of the party. We'll see if Twist Grips can get back to that impressive run where he beat Bell Tower and Rockin' Cherokee in his debut at 50 to 1. So Twist Grips for third for me. I went 3, 4, and 1.
I see it exactly the same, Mike. Stratify on top, as you mentioned. Dino Condolini was off to a great start. Cut out to be a nice horse. He's an AP Indy. As you mentioned, trouble trip first time, came back, made no mistake second time. Service is here. The one thing that worries me is he has been off quite some time. I wouldn't be surprised maybe if Brass and Gold can get the better of him today. I don't know if Brass and Gold's a better horse, but he has the fitness edge. He's been running. He's definitely a little more seasoned, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him win it, but I do put him in second. And Twist Grips for the reasons you mentioned in third. I see exactly the same, 3, 4, and 1. On to the 6th. 3-year-olds and up, maiden, 25,000. I've gone to the rail horse here, Greg Tracy's horse, Leprechaun Kid. Enrique Gonzalez takes the call. He's going to be chalky. His form makes it tough to go against him. For a maiden, ran second in 2 maiden special weights in Alberta, then second in a stake. Not sure why he shows up here for 25. There's a little bit of a question mark there. I'm not sure what to think. Maybe a false favorite, but when I look at the race, he looks like the one to beat. The second spot I put Lord Calazar. It's kind of an interesting horse. He ran last week in a maiden special weight. I know Richard Hamill turned down about 3 or 4 at least horses in that maiden special weight split. He ended up getting back on one for Lenore Dubois, Amazing Rosie. But now this horse shows back in for 25. Aaron Greider gets the call. Maybe if he wakes up a little bit, starts puts the pieces together. He's obviously
He ran green.
He ran very green. So if he kind of puts it together, they obviously think enough of him that if he runs his race and puts it together, I think he's even a win candidate here. And in third spot, I put Run Stormy Run, good friend of the Derbies, Mark, Sharon Johnson, the Johnson family. Run Stormy Run, another horse, kind of ran very greenly his first start last year. Then his second start, just got beat by Crossrail Court, definitely a decent horse. Again, Richard Hamill had some options in here, and he elected to go with Run Stormy Run, so that kind of tips maybe a little tip there. Maybe Run Stormy Run, they think something of him. I got 1, 3, and 7.
I'm glad you picked it because Lyle and Ken are here watching the show.
Yeah, so I know.
Well, I didn't pick them top 2.
I'd be ducking.
At least Lyle and Ken were here. The horse does have a good chance, has some speed.
Yeah.
But I did go to the 6th, though. Milkman Joey, a firster for
been working lights out. Yeah.
59s. Joey Franco. It's taken a while to get to the races, but there's some talent here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this horse pretty alive. So I'm going to go with the 6, Similkameen Joey in his debut. I agree with the 3, Lord Calazar. I know coming back in a week, but this horse, hopefully with the experience and the 1 race under his belt,
I don't think it took a lot out of him last week, so I wouldn't worry about that. Yeah.
Horse, but still, maybe he still needs to improve. I mean, that was he ran around there like it was very green and he needs to be better, but perhaps he will be. He was working so well going into his debut. And I put the 4-horse De Corsa, who ran into a good one in Knightsbridge, and a nice 4-year-old in Wings of Time, who ran ahead of him. And I thought he ran a creditable third. The time was very fast, and I give the 4 De Corsa another shot. So I went 6, 3, and 4 in the 6th race. On to the 7th, our feature event, the Big House of Bells, as we mentioned off the top. Got a field of 7 fillies and mares to go 6.5 furlongs. I'm going to head to the Evelyn's Dancer, of course, last year's 3-year-old filly champion. Looked very good, even in the ballerina, when it took a class mare, like Class Included, to defeat her. And she can sprint too. She's got speed. Anytime she was running last year with either Fernando Perez or Mario Gutierrez, she was dragging the rider to the lead in these races, and they're running like 112 for the 6 furlongs and 47 for the half. This horse can go in 45 for fun.
Yeah.
And I don't think sprinting will be a problem for Evelyn's Dancer, so I like her a lot. Put the 1 overvalued in for second. She's a good, honest mare that's won some races, beat some nice mares throughout her career, sprinting and going long, so she deserves respect. And the 3 Trelawney, another mare that had a hard luck year last year, was in good form, and then ran into a
got hurt
called
in the morning,
in the morning, and they kind of crashed into each other and
derailed her season a little bit.
Certainly took, when she was going so well early, and that's why she had that gap between June and September. But a mare that's can run well fresh. Frank knows her well. Got her prepped nicely. I went 7, 1, and 3.
I have the same top 2. Definitely Evelyn's Dancer on top. I think she might even be better sprinting. I think just going long, she's just that good. So I definitely have her on top. The one horse that maybe could topple her first out of the box this year would be overvalued. Been training very well. Trace McCarthy off to a very good start. Her horses are...
Stole it, ran well, and sort of
Lasting Spice
won.
Yeah, Monaghy ran a good race too. So hers are ready and they're running good. In the third spot, I put Heidi Maria, another one that's going to want to go longer. But I can see her, she'll be closing late, and I see her getting
she's a nice mare.
Pick up the pieces. She's one that's going to probably improve as the season goes on. They start running longer. But she's another one, been working very good for this race. And looks really good too. She looks the part. She's a nice mare. So I put her in third. 7, 1, and 5 for me. On to the nightcap. Excuse me, 3-year-olds and up. Never win 3 7,500. And I went to the way outside for my top 2 selections. I went to the 9, This Bruise for You. As we mentioned, Mel Snow's been off to a corker of a start. This horse ran into Gypsy Magic, who was much the best that day, and Notice Sal. He's got the race under his belt. A little bit of a rider upgrade to Antonio Reyes, who was making a lot of noise at the end of the meet here last year. All systems go for This Bruise for You. I have him on top. I think he can turn the tables on my second pick, Notice Sal, who ran a good race. Just got passed by Gypsy Magic late last time. But I think that horse has been running some in Phoenix this winter. So I think the start will benefit This Bruise for You.
More than will benefit Notice Sal.
Exactly, yeah. So I have 9, 10. And in the third spot, I put number 3, Joshua Jet Fuel, out of the Pat Jarvis barn. A horse that's been working really well for the level it's going to run at. A horse that's been firing some bullets. And Robert Skelly takes the call. Good to see Robert Skelly back in the winner's circle last weekend.
Nice win for Melanie Walters.
Melanie Walters' first win as a trainer. Robert Skelly's first win in some time. Comes back... First weekend he rode and knocks off a winner, so Robert Skelly's back in good form. I went 9, 10, and 3.
Yeah, I went off the rail. I like the 9, This Bruise for You. I think this horse is very low. I liked the horse last week at 13 to 1. I'm not going to get 13 to 1 this week. The horse had a wide trip and still was battling on the end of the race. Didn't get a favorable post, but the horse that beat him, Notice Sal, got a worse post. So I like This Bruise for You. I think that horse will be dangerous. I'm going to go to the 6, Vying for Glory, in for second. I think this horse exited some really tough races last year. I thought Mazel Print, Pacal, Patsquero, Little Brown Guy, I think those races were way tougher than some of the other horses that were coming out of different races. He's got nice company lines, and I think Vying for Glory is pretty live. It's Scott Williams. And the 5 horse Dillwyn, I'm going to give him another shot. He had a brutal trip last week, or on opening day, pardon me. It was 4 and 5 wide the whole race. No chance. Give this horse another look. Amadeo Perez rides. It was no fault of Davey Wilson. He rode a good race. He just got hung out. That's the problem with
Nothing you can do,
races.
Yeah.
You're dead. It's like 10 jumps to the first turn, and you have to make. And when you have an outside draw, you're in trouble. That's why 6.5. At least you get a better shot to settle your horse. It's almost better for horses to run 6.5 than it is for 6. 6 is almost harder on horses.
Absolutely, especially
you can't tell
at this track.
If you're fit, you need to be fitter to run 6 than you do to run 6.5 at Hastings. But Dillwyn for me for third. I went 9, 6, and 5. I think those are the 3 horses, but you should get some good prices on those 3 horses. We'll have to do it for our analysis of the Saturday card. Up next on screen will be a quick look at a recap of our picks for the Saturday program. Back in race number 1, I went to the 5, Nicotiana. I went 5, 2, and 7. In the second race, number 4, Honest Mare, Remarkably Free, 4, 5, 1. Third race, number 2, Delta Bouquet, 2, 1, and 4. A little bit of an upset, I hope. In the fourth race, number 7, I Want Seconds over the 6 and 2, but I do like the 6 Ottoman in there. I think that was a run well, like 7, 6, and 2. Fifth race, number 3, Stratify over the 4, Brass and Gold, 3, 4, 1. Sixth race, the firster, number 6, Similkameen Joey, 6, 3, 4. Seventh race, the classy number 7, Evelyn's Dancer over the 1, Overvalued, 7, 1, 3. And the 8th and final, as we just mentioned, the 9, This Brews for You, 9, 6, and 5.
And on to my picks. I agree with Mike in the early double. I took the 5 in the first race, Nicotiana over the 1 and 7. The second race, number 4, Remarkably Free over the 3 and the 2. In the third race, I went to the 1, Diana's Legacy over the 4 and the 6. In the fourth, again, I'm with Mike. We have a lot of the same picks today. Number 7. Yeah, we'll see. Number 7, I Want Seconds over the 2 and the 4. In the fifth, number 3, Stratify over the 4 and the 1. In the sixth, I went to the rail, number 1, Leprechaun Kid over the 3 and the 7. In the seventh, the feature, I took Evelyn's Dancer, number 7, over 1, Overvalued, and 5, Heidi Maria. And in the nightcap, I agree with Mike again, number 9, This Brews for You over the 10 and the 3.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of Handicappers Corner. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. And don't forget, get those reservations in. Get calling 604-536-2878. Get your reservations in for the Kentucky Derby.
Still a little bit of room. This is the place you want to be for it.
Easy in somewhere. It's going to be a great atmosphere here. Always a great day, the Kentucky Derby Day. It's not
Come out and have some mint juleps.
Good food. Oh yeah, great booze.
Come out for the mint juleps
here at the Derby Bar and Grill. Don't forget Kentucky Oaks Day as well on Friday, May the 3rd. You can sneak on in here, and there'll be lots going on, some lunch specials, and always good food. So come on out and enjoy some great. If you can't make it to Hastings, get out here to the Derby Bar and Grill. Well, that'll do it for this edition, as I mentioned. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on Handicappers Corner.
Do this here in the Telegraph.
Football Rivera bite. I hear his foot's all right. Of course it all depends if he read last night.
I know it's